Okay, good morning, students. Am I audible? Just respond to the chat box. I repeat, am I audible? Okay. So, if I'm not wrong, in my last class, I have stopped at this particular concept, that is framing. Yes or no? Is that the topic that we stopped in last class? Framing. So still only 60 students have joined. Okay. So in this class, what we are going to do is, in our last class, we discussed that data link layer is responsible for different services. So those services are framing, error control, flow control, and medium access control. So you will receive information from the network layer and you will provide these services, and you will then give the information to the physical layer. And out of these four services, we also discussed that these three services falls under logical link control, where this one is falls under medium access control. There are two sublayers, a logical link control sublayer and medium access control sublayer. Where logical link control sublayer, that means you can say sublayer means you can say a function. Okay, you called data link layer function. Now data link layer function will first call logical link control function to provide the three services. Then it will call the medium access control function to provide the last service, that is medium access control service. Okay, now we are going to discuss about each and every of these functionalities one by one. So first we will start with framing. So in this class, what we are going to learn is how to separate frames from one another and what are the various framing techniques. Okay, is it clear what we are going to discuss in this class? So we are going to discuss how to separate frames with one another and what are those different techniques to separate the frames. So why it is that much important to separate the frames? So let's see. Um, so just imagine you are the sender, that means a computer, okay, as well as the source. And let's say there are no intermediate nodes. You directly, let me do one thing. You are the sender as well as the source, and your friend is the receiver as well as destination, and you are using share it to transfer files from one mobile to another mobile. Let's say the file is a very small one which actually contains only 40 bits. Okay, so you are going to send a text file, okay, text file which is having 40 bits. Okay, that means you can say uh, uh, 5 exact 40, so 5 bytes of information. Okay, so you are going to send these 40 bits from this mobile A to this mobile B, using the service provided by the share. Okay, now share it is the application level protocol, a function, a service. So that gave the information to the next layer, network layer. Then network layer gave the information. Sorry, application layer gave the information to the transport layer. Transport layer gave the information to the network layer. Now network layer gave the information to the data link layer. So data link layer will give the information to the physical layer, where physical layer will send the information through this physical medium. Now just imagine data link layer is doing nothing. For now, just imagine data link layer is doing nothing. It received 40 bits from the network layer and it is forwarding those 40 bits into physical layer. So physical layer will convert that information into signals and it will send them. So your 40 bits traveled as a continuous streams to B, and by receiving those 40 bits on the receiving side, what B will do? B will convert the received 40 bits into a text file. Okay, so this is a text file. So it will try to reconstruct into a text file. Now, when you try to open this text file, you are not able to. Open this file. So your mobile is showing it is corrupted. So what are you people getting what I am saying? What I am trying to explain here? So imagine you sent all the 40 bits together in a single go. Okay, data link layer has done nothing related to error control, and the above layers are also done nothing with error control. Now, whatever is transmitted the 40 bits, so sender transmitted the correct 40 bits, but receiver received some wrong 40 bits. That means all the 40 bits may not be wrong. Say one bit in those 40 bits are wrong. Because of that, now your text file is corrupted. Can you open the text file? Obviously not. Your mobile will show the file is corrupted. Okay. Now, so instead, so what is your other option to do now? You need the text file, obviously. So what you are going to do? You are the receiver, I am the sender. So you received a file and it shows it is corrupted. You receive a file in the WhatsApp and it shows it is corrupted. You receive a file in Share It and it shows it is corrupted. So what you will do? What you people will do immediately? Answer the question, guys. I sent a PPT to you of 40 bit size and it says it is corrupted after downloading that PPT. What you people will do immediately? It's a simple question, logic question. Just tell me the answer. So only one person responded. So all the other people are either dumb or they are not having that, what you can say, dare to speak even in these private rooms also. If you are not able to speak in the classrooms because of what your friends will say, such things, so you can speak in these virtual classrooms freely. So two people responded, 566, 529. Good. Even though it is very basic question, I can only see only few people are responding. So 5 I not is also responded correctly. 545 has given, Lakshmi has given this answer. We don't have a proper app in our mobile. Just imagine you have a proper app in your mobile. The mobile is not saying the file is not recognizable. It is saying the file is a text file or a PPT file, but your mobile is saying it is corrupted. That means you have a proper app, but the proper app is not able to open that file. So what you are going to do, Lakshmi? 545. So what about the others? Did I ask any difficult question? Some IAS, IPS level question, or some IIT, JEE level question, or some GATE level question? What I ask is a simple question which you can ask with common, you can solve, you can answer with common sense. Okay. So I sent you a file, a text file. Okay, I am sure the text file I am sending is correct one. Okay, but after you downloaded the text file, your software is not able to open it. It is saying the file is corrupted. Okay, so what is your immediate response? Guys, respond in the chat box. clearing RAM 5J7 Balakrishna, I think. So clearing RAM. See, if it shows such message that your memory is completely occupied, not available, I mean, memory is not available, then you can go with clearing RAM. What I said is your file, your application says when it tries to open that file, it is not able to open that file because the file is corrupted. ఓకే, నేను మీకు ఒక మెటీరియల్ పంపించానమ్మా వాట్సాప్ గ్రూప్ లో, మీకు ఆ మెటీరియల్ డౌన్లోడ్ అవ్వట్లేదు, ఎవరికి డౌన్లోడ్ అవ్వట్లేదు, లేదా సే ఒక్క పర్సన్ కి పంపించిన ఒక్క పర్సన్ కి డౌన్లోడ్ అవ్వట్లేదు, ఏం చేస్తారు ఆ పర్సన్? డౌన్లోడ్ అయింది ఓపెన్ అవ్వట్లేదు, వాట్ ఐ మెంట్ ఈస్. సో అగైన్ 599, it is right. So only 5 people are able to tell the right answer. Even though the other people are not able to tell the right answer, at least they are responding. They're better compared to the other. So the answer is simple, very simple. You will ask me to send it again. Okay. So I said clearly, only one bit out of the 40 bits are corrupted, but because of that one bit, you are asking me to send the entire file again. Is it logically an appropriate thing? Okay, practically, obviously there is no other option, but think yourself as a machine. Okay, is it really an efficient approach to ask the sender to send the file again, complete file again? So it is a 40-bit file. You may think that it's just 40 bits, it won't take even a fraction of second. Why can't we ask the sender to send the 40 bits again? Now imagine it is a movie. You ask your friend to send a movie through Share It. The movie is playing very nicely using VLC player in its mobile, in his mobile. You ask him to send the movie through Share It. Now you received the movie completely. Okay, then you opened the movie using the same VLC player in your mobile. Now your mobile is saying that the file is corrupted, the VLC player is not able to open. What you will do? You will ask your friend to resend that movie again. Yes or no? So now previously the 40 bits, a fraction of second. Now out of your 1 GB movie, 1 GB, okay, 1 GB means 8 into 10 power 6 bits. Okay, so 1 bit out of this 8 into 10 power 6 bits were corrupted because of some issue, software, hardware, whatever you take. Because of some issue, 1 bit out of those 8 into 10 power 6, okay, 8 million bits, 1 by 8 million is corrupted. So because of that small reason, you are asking your friend to resend the your Share It application in your mobile, is asking your friend's mobile Share It application to send all the movie again. Is it a right way to do? Tell me yes or no, guys. Last class I clearly told you, respond to every question that I ask you, then it will be an interactive session and I can explain more and more with more elaborate examples easily. Yeah, so as you can see, it is not a right thing to do that. Okay, so I gave the entire lecture, you are not able to understand one small topic. You can't ask me to repeat the entire session, you can ask me to just repeat a small part of the session. So why? Because you can see the session is separated properly. In the same way, when these 40 bits are transmitted, these 40 bits, let's say, are divided into 10 4 bits. Okay, these 40 bits are divided into 10 4 bits. Okay, now these 10 4 bits will come to you one after other. Okay, now you identified that out of these 10 parts, in one part 1 bit is corrupted. That means you received 36 bits without any problem. There is some mechanism to see whether each 4 bits are correct or not. So you identified that 36 bits are correct. Only one of a specific 4 bit is wrong. Can you ask your sender to resend only that part? Now, can you ask the sender to send only that 4-bit part, not the all 40 bits? Compared to our previous approach, now it is no, you can't. No, we can't. See, wait. Don't throw me that no answer. See, previously, out of 40 bits, you only got correct. Only one is corrected out of these 40 bits. But you are asking your friend to send all the 40 bits again, which is not a proper thing, which is not a good thing. Even, I mean, what you can say, physically speaking. But now, out of these 40 bits, which is actually divided into 10 4 bits, you identified that, let's say, third 4th bit part is corrupted and all the remaining 36 parts are came to you. In your data link layer, you have such mechanism. Okay. Now, because of this mechanism, you can ask your friend to only send this corrupted part. You can keep the remaining 36 bits in your memory, and you can ask your friend to, hey so and so person, whatever you send, the third part of that sent information is corrupted. Can you send that only third part? Okay. Compared to our previous approach, now you can say it is there is some justification now. Okay. So is it a good thing or bad thing compared to our previous approach? So you ask your friend to send a movie. Okay, the movie is not now just a 1 GB movie. It is 10 100 MB movies. Okay, 10 100 MB parts, 10 parts are there. Your friend send one by one part. Okay, 9 parts received correctly, 1 part is corrupted. Now you will ask your friend to send your entire movie, or you will only ask your friend to send that part? I think now I am clear with the question. Only the part, right? So that is the beauty of dividing the information. Now, just now, as I said, dividing the information is a better thing if you divide the information into 1 bits. Okay, now you divide your entire movie into 1 million bit. That will complicate the communication part. Okay, so why it will complicate, we will see in our coming topics. You will understand why it will complicate. Why can't you choose very small part? Why can't you choose completely a big part? There must be some balance between the length of each frame. Okay, now is it clear why we need framing? I repeat, is it clear why we need framing? Why we need to divide the information into smaller parts? Yeah, good. Now, so the framing concept in data link layer is nothing but dividing the information into smaller parts. Okay, so as I said, the communication links, the physical mediums are susceptible to errors. You can't ensure that. See, when you purchase broadband connections from some service providers, actually you won't go through the terms and conditions of those service providers. Okay, but when a software company purchases a lease link from a service provider, let's say our college is purchasing a lease link from a BSNL server or Airtel, so they will make an agreement. Okay, you will choose a service provider who will tell you that our link is 99% error free or is 99% up. So one service provider will tell you that our link is 99% up, and another service provider will tell you that our link is 90% up. So cost is not an issue. Which you will choose means obviously you will choose the 99% up. In the same way, okay, because no one can guarantee that their communication, their infrastructure is error free and will not go down. So at some point, due to some physical issues or some logical issues, there will be some errors. The network may go down. So you need some mechanisms to deal with that. So one such basic mechanism is dividing your information into smaller parts. Okay. So break your input data into smaller parts, which are called as data frames. Transmit them sequentially. So you will send one by one. Okay. So which will make sure that you will get a error-free communication, or you will get a better communication. Okay, so if you send your entire movie as a single part, if you get one bit error, you need to ask your friend to send the entire movie again, which is not good. Now if you divide the movie into 100 parts and you will send one part at a time, so if there is a problem with one part of the movie, you will only ask your friend to send that same part. Now 529 asked a good question. 529 Krishna asking that, sir, what if the data frames miss sequence? So I said the data frames will be transmitted sequentially. So if due to some reason, if you miss sequence, so obviously you need some mechanism to identify which part is the first one, which part is the second one, which part is the third one, which part is the fourth one. Okay, so normal ga meeku movie 10 parts kinda YouTube lo meer eppudaina observe cheste movie normal ga single part kinda untunna multiple parts kinda untunnama. So ఏ part ముందు ప్లే చేయాలి, ఏ part ముందు సెకండ్ ప్లే చేయాలి, ఏ పార్ట్ లాస్ట్ లో ప్లే చేయాలి అనేది మీకు ఎలా తెలుస్తుంది? హౌ విల్ యూ నో దట్ విచ్ పార్ట్ ఇస్ ద ఫస్ట్ వన్, విచ్ పార్ట్ ఇస్ ద సెకండ్ వన్, విచ్ పార్ట్ ఇస్ ద థర్డ్ వన్, విచ్ పార్ట్ ఇస్ ద ఫోర్త్ వన్? My question is clear. You want to play some movie in YouTube, the movie is divided into 10 parts. Okay, how will you see, how will you identify the first part, how will you identify the second part? Yeah, so 599 Sanjay gave the right answer. So there will be numbering in the title, not timing, numbering. Some number, yeah, 566 also right. So you will see normally 1 by 10, 2 by 10. This is the widely used numbering approach that I observed in YouTube. So these are called sequence numbers. Yes or no? So these sequence numbers will tell you how the parts are ordered. In the same way, our data link is also going to add a header. So every layer will add header. Okay, so this header contains some information related to that layer. So here in this data link layer related to framing, what information it is going to add is, it is going to add sequence numbers. Okay, so now let me continue with, see, we will come back to these sequence numbers when we learn different standard headers. Okay, so my question now is, I said previously you have 40 bits, I divided these into 4 frames. So this is frame 1, frame 2, frame 3, frame 4. Now sender is sending these 40 bits, that is 4 frames, one by one. F2, F3, F4. Okay, so here in this diagram, how I am separating this F1, F2, F3, F4 to show them to you properly? So forget about the inside content. Just give me a minute. Just not give minute, a few seconds. So this is the first frame, this is the second frame, this is the third frame, this is the fourth frame. Now from the picture you can see those are 4 frames. Yes or no? From the diagram you can see, as a human being who learned so many things from our childhood, we can clearly see those are 4 frames. Okay, because I separated them and represented them as rectangles with boundaries. Now, in your data, okay, in your real-time communication, there will be no such boundaries exist, no rectangles drawn around 10 bits. So what happens is I transmitted the first 10 bits 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10, and immediately I am going to transmit my next 10 bits, then the next 10 bits, 10 bits, like that. So all 40 bits. That means literally, even though I done framing, I have not added any information which will tell which is the starting of a frame, which is the ending of a frame. Okay, if you know that information, you will be able to logically construct some boundaries around that. But I have not given any such information. Okay, so without these boundaries, your system, that is nothing but your mobile, even though it knows that the information is divided into 4 parts, there is one more part later. So 4 parts, you are not able to clearly see from where to where is the first part, from where to where is the second part, from where to where is the third part, from where to where is the fourth part. Yes or no? సో డేటాని యాజ్ ఇట్ ఈస్ గా డివైడ్ చేసి, సో డివైడ్ చేసి పంపించడం అంటే ఎలాగంటే అమ్మ మీకు మీన్ సే ఐ గేవ్ ఐఎమ్ గివింగ్ ఏ సింపుల్ సిల్లీ ఎగ్జాంపుల్. I gave you a rice bag which is having 10 kgs. Okay, now I want you to shift these 10 kgs into a box in a way that you need to separate them into 10 parts. So obviously what you are going to do is you are going to either put some layers in between. So you are going to pour 1 kg, then you are going to put one layer, one cover, or one cardboard, or you can take 1 kg and put in one bag and put that bag in that box. Then you can take another kg and you will put another bag and you will put that bag into that box. So you are going to physically separate them by using some mechanism. Okay, otherwise if you say, okay, as our sir said, I'm going to take the 10 kgs bag and I'm going to take the first kg with a bowl and I'm going to pour that first kg into the box, then I'm going to take the second kg and I'm going to pour the second kg into the box, and then I'm going to take third kg, then I'm going to pour the third kg into the box. So what happens now, is it really are you really doing framing? So are you really separating them into kgs? So all your struggle is completely wasted. Okay, so you need some mechanism to create boundaries. So there are few mechanisms, as I said, the techniques. So the simplest technique, okay, so the main problem here, as you can see, is how to identify these frame boundaries. So the simplest technique is fixed length frame. Okay, so fixed length framing means I can say my 40 bits are divided into 4 frames. So 4 frames where each frame is having 10 bits. Okay, so now I think even though I transmit my 40 bits continuously, you will be able to see the boundaries. Yes or no? So I sent like this. Now can you tell me from where to where the first boundary? From here, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10, after receiving 10 bits. Okay, so this is one frame, so let's make it a frame. Then from 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10, so up to here another frame. So that is the simple approach, yes or no, using fixed length frame. Respond, guys. So is it a simple approach, or is it very difficult for you to do or understand? So it is the simplest approach, but it is not at all efficient. in terms of communication, because you be sure that every time you will get at least this much amount of data. So you decided that your frame size is 1 KB. Okay, let's say 10 KB. Okay, now can you guarantee that every communication will be divided into multiple 10 KB? So that means I will at least send you 10 KB, or I will send you 20 KB, or I will send you 30 KB, or I will send you 40 KB, or I will send you 50 KB. Like that, can you decide? Is there any guarantee like that? So obviously no. So sometimes you may get 2 KB, sometimes you may get 24 KB, sometimes you may get 93 KB, sometimes you will get 41 KBs. So in that case, you are able to say if you receive 41 KBs, you are going to separate them into 4 frames of 10 KBs. Okay, then your last frame can only get 1 KB, but your frame size is minimum 10 KB. So what is the best approach means you need to add some waste content. Okay, so to fill up the box. So meeku 4 kgs pette boxes ichchanamma. So 5 boxes ichchanu, kg pette box. So meeku 4 kgs 100 grams so content ichchanu, fill up cheyamannanu. Okay, it is some, let's say the content is something like which may break if it moves continuously. So what you are going to do is you are going to put 1 kg into one box, another kg into another box, another kg into another box, 4th kg into 4th box. Now you have only 100 grams. You need to fill the 1 kg box. Okay, so the item must be firmly fixed to a position. It can't move here and there inside the box. So if it moves like that, it will break. So what you will do, you will fill that with some junk like some scrap paper fillets, so that the item will not be moving side by side. So you are wasting actually the 1 kg box for this. So moving with this fixed length is obviously is a not right choice in terms of efficiency. You are wasting bandwidth. So now to send 41 KB, you are going to waste 50 KB bandwidth. Yes or no? To send 41 KB, you are going to waste 50 KB. So that is the problem with this fixed length frame. Even though it is very straightforward approach, a simple approach, it is wasting your bandwidth, it is wasting your resources. Okay, so you are going to spend some processing in your processing resources in your sender system, and the same thing is going to happen on the receiving side system. So it is not at all efficient. So what is the better approach? The better approach is variable length framing. So variable length framing means obviously depending on your requirements, you are going to decide what is the frame length. Okay, so now another issue. So if I send only the information, okay, like this, where now I am using variable length framing, can you distinguish from which bit to which bit the first frame, which bit to which bit is the second frame, which bit to which bit is the third frame, like that? Is there any way to tell that here now? Previously I counted, okay, from here 1 2 3 4 5 6 10, okay, one frame, like that. Now is there any such approach you can do? No, right? So we need different approaches. So those approaches are our today's the remaining class we are going to teach. So can anyone, before going to the next techniques, what are the techniques? Use your logical thinking capability and give me some options to identify from where to where the first frame, from where to where is the second frame, from where to where is the third frame. Give me some answer. If one person can, I mean, answer this particular question, then it will be a good thing. So you are a designer, okay, you identified this problem. Address, previous link address. What is meant by previous link address G2? See, forget about address, forget about every other information. You have your data, you have this 41 KB information. Okay, now I am using a variable length framing. I am not telling you what is the maximum size of that variable length, what is the minimum size of that variable length. Now, how you can identify from where to where is the first frame, from where to where is the second frame, from where to where is the third frame. Can you come up with some approach? As an engineer, can you build some solution for this problem? So 5J8 gave one good answer. I will reveal that answer, but let me see, is there any other person that are able to come up with such solutions? No one else. So is there only one student who is good in logical thinking capabilities? I think you are learning. I can't get you 5A9. Uma Shai. No other answers? Okay. So yeah, 5J8 obviously I will appreciate for your quick thinking. Yeah, 5I0 is also, I mean, gave the similar answer like 5J8, Gayatri and Indira. Okay, so keep up with the same thinking. So now let's see what are the approach. So the whatever you just mentioned, the same approaches that we are going to discuss now. Okay, so in variable length framing, so obviously what you can see is each frame may have different lengths. Okay, so you can't simply fix to your previous approach, fixed length approach, and you can count like that. So you need some new approach. Okay, so the new approach here that you are going to see is counting. Okay, so what I just said is you can't fix, you can't follow the same counting approach, but again I am saying byte count. Okay, we will see what is meant by byte count. Okay, then flag bytes. Though, so this flag bytes is nothing but what the answers given by 5J8 and 5I0. So Gayatri and Indra, the answers given by them is adding some additional information, something like a key in the beginning and ending, or you can say only in the beginning of each frame. Okay, that means from a key to the next key, one frame. From that key to the next key, the next frame. So from the key to the next key, the third frame. So you are going to insert keys between to separate. So you are inserting boundaries. So are you people able to see? So how you are going to separate them? So previously, as I said, so flag bytes, let me show you the other approach also. So these are the four approaches. So the first approach is byte count. So the second approach is flag bytes with byte stuffing. The third approach is flag bits with bit stuffing. And the fourth approach is physical layer coding violation. Okay. So we are going to discuss about each and every of these topics one by one. Okay. So whatever this Gayatri and Indra came up with the approach, so that approach is used in these two cases. Okay, flag bytes and flag bits. So we will, so whatever they said, keys are some information needed to be added at the beginning and ending of frame. So that information is nothing but the information is called flag. Okay, we are going to put a flag in the beginning and ending to separate them. Okay, so now let's see what is meant by byte count, how the byte count will help. So as you can see at the bottom of this here, adding number of bytes in the following frame in the beginning of the frame itself. సో ప్రీవియస్ గా ఫిక్స్డ్ లెంత్ ఏంటంటే అమ్మా మనం 40 బిట్స్ వరుసగా ఉంటాయి, దాంట్లో 10 బిట్స్ ఒక ఫ్రేమ్ అని చెప్పాం కాబట్టి మీరే కౌంట్ చేసుకోవచ్చు 10 అని చెప్పేసి. నా you don't know how much length each frame is, so what you are going to do is you are going to insert that information in the beginning. So the first frame size is 10, so you are going to count 10. Okay, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. After going to 10, here you are going to see another length. So let's say now you saw a length 12. So see, this 10 is also represented in bits 0 1 0 0 1 1 0 0, something like that. I gave just some random bits. Okay, in the same way here you will get, after going these many number of bits, you will get another pattern which will identify as 12. Okay, so that means the next 12 are second frame. Then you will see another information. So let me show you diagram. So as you can see here, so here what they are going to do is, so normally most of the applications will process the information byte by byte, not just bit by bit. So those informations are divided into bytes. So previously I said 40 bits, that means 5 bytes. Okay, so here in your information, you are going to divide your information into frames, and each frame in the beginning is going to carry how many bytes are there in that frame. So if you look here, this entire thing, this let me change the color. Yeah, so this entire thing may appear like a single frame to you. Okay, ఎందుకంటే మనం ఎక్కడ మధ్యలో స్పేసెస్ ఇవ్వలేదమ్మా, మొత్తం అదంతా ఒక సింగిల్ అరే కింద డిస్ప్లే చేస్తాం. సో చూడగానే మీకు అది ఒక ఫ్రేమ్ లా కనిపిస్తుందా లేకపోతే మల్టిపుల్ ఫ్రేమ్స్ లా కనిపిస్తుందా? మై సింపుల్ క్వశ్చన్. There is no such things, we don't know about the byte counts or anything. So just looking at this array, is it appearing like a single frame or multiple frames? So again, only one person can respond. So it's appear like single frame. Now, so what we are doing is, Are Babu, it is not a single frame. In the beginning, you can see the count of the corresponding frame size. It contains multiple frames, and at each frame's beginning, you can see what is the corresponding frame size. So what you are going to do is, okay, so that is the reason. So that is the meaning here. So let's see what is the first byte contains. So what is the first byte of this frame contains? Number 5. So what is the meaning of that? The first frame contains 5 bytes, okay, including the frame count byte. Okay, so I am using 1 byte for frame counting purpose. Okay, so this first byte, second byte, third byte, fourth byte, fifth byte. So till this particular point, you can say this is frame 1. Then immediately the next byte will be frame size information. So again, it is a 5 byte frame. So 1 2 3 4 5. So up to here another frame. Then again another information. So it says 8 0 1 2 3 4 5 7 8. So up to here another frame. Again 8. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, including this 8. So up to this another frame. So now, are you clear with how the byte count will help you separate the frames? I repeat, is it clear how the byte count will help you separate the frames? Yeah, good. Now, my question is, I said the medium is not error free. You can get errors. So let's say you got an error in the third frame. The error is somewhere here. So this frame is corrupted. Now, After receiving these 3 frames, first, because of this error, are you able to identify the frames correctly, or you are going with the wrong direction? That means what I meant is because of this error, the remaining frames are not affected. Yes or no? Because of this error, the remaining frames are not affected. Only this frame will be affected. Good. Now, this is not the place where the error came. Okay, let's say the error occurred in this frame only, but now the error occurred in one of these bits. This byte contains 8 bits. One of that bit is corrupted. So, can anyone tell me what is the binary representation of 8? What is the binary representation of 8? So it is 0000100. Yes or no? Now, one of these bits are corrupted. So can someone throw me one bit here? Which bit? Let's change one bit. Which bit to change here out of these 8 bits? The first bit, second bit, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth. Yeah. Don't for now. Don't give me 4. Okay. For now, don't give me 4. Give me some other value. Yeah, 5. Majority people gave, so people are saying 5, 2 people are saying 6. Let's go with 2 approaches. So in my first approach, let's say the 5th bit was corrected. That means instead of 000 4 zeros 1 triple 0, you received 000 11 100. Corrected means obviously it must be altered. Okay, now what is the meaning of this pattern? Is it 8? What is the meaning of that pattern? 24. Okay, that means until this part, the receiver is going to clearly identify frame 1 and frame 2. Now, here instead of 8, he saw 24. So, what he will do? From this, 24 bytes are single frames. So, that's what he is going to assume. So, because of this single error, this one is failed, this one is failed. Maybe the next 2 or 3 frames will be failed. Yes or no? Now, the other person asked me to go with 6th bit. So this is the 6th bit. So can anyone tell me what is the, binary, decimal representation of this? 40. Okay. So if you see 40 here, now let's say like next 10 frames will be completely wasted. So next 10 frames first will be considered as frame 3. When it tries to check whether the frame 3 is right or wrong, the frame 3 will be appear as wrong. So the sender need to send frame 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and so on again. So that is the problem with this byte count approach. So this is also, we can say, the second simplest approach till now. So as you can see here, so this is the textbook example. So here the error is happened here. So because of that, frame 2 will be wrongly interpreted up to here. Now the next frame will be considered only this part. Now the next frame will be this part. Then the next frame will be this part. Then the next frame will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So now the sender sent 4 frames. The receiver received frame 1, frame 2, frame 3, frame 4, frame 5, frame 6. 6 frames, which are completely wrong because of the error which happened at byte count itself in some frame will be affecting the entire remaining communication. Yes or no? So is it clear with this byte count approach and the drawback of this approach? Yeah, good. Okay, so remember this. So this is the second simplest approach compared to fixed length approach. Okay, now, but we saw what is the problem here. So let's see what is the next approach. So byte orient. So before going to the next approach, So I said some systems will process the information bit by bit, some systems will process information byte by byte. Okay, so let's see what is meant by that. So a machine implemented with bit oriented protocols process the information bit by bit. That means when you receive a bit, so when you receive say one, this one will be processed. You won't be waiting for the next bits. Okay, so immediately when you receive one bit, you are going to send them to the corresponding application to process them. Okay, in byte oriented protocol, application means let's say not application, a function to process them. So the function is data link layer function. So in byte oriented protocol, when you receive the first bit, in byte means you can't process unless you get one byte. So you need to wait till you receive the remaining six bits. Sorry, so then remaining 7 bits also. So when you receive the first bit, you are going to wait till you receive the remaining 7 bits, so that you will have a byte. Now you will send that byte to for processing. Okay, then you will wait for the next 8 bits, you will get 1 byte and you will process that byte. So that is what is meant by byte oriented protocols. So is it clear with this bit oriented protocols and byte oriented protocols? I repeat, is it clear with bit oriented protocols and byte oriented protocols? So 5G2, wait, I will come back to your question. Okay. Now, so DLL, that is data link layer, is able to provide two framing methods based on whether your system process information bit by bit or byte by byte. Okay. So me system byte by byte process, obviously you are going to go with byte oriented protocols. Okay, if your system is doing a bit by bit, that you can go with bit oriented protocol. So you will see why we need two different approach. Why can't we go with one approach? Okay, so first we will go with byte oriented protocol. Okay, so in byte oriented protocol, what is the problem you may get and how to solve that problem? So these things we are going to discuss. So 5G to Rajkumar. So G to Rajkumar, you just wait, you will know the answer. Yeah, sorry. So I think I merged these things. So just give me a minute, guys. Just a minute. So in this particular approach, you are going to add a flag in the beginning and ending of each frame to separate them. Okay. So is it clear how you are going to separate the frames by using this approach, flag byte? You are going to add a byte in the beginning and ending. So మీకు క్లియర్ గా చెప్పాలి అంటే మీరు I think you are familiar with programming, right? You know this, you done C programming, you done Java programming, you done Python programming. Okay, so in these programming languages, how you will represent strings in your program? How you will represent strings in your program? J8 gave the right answer. Yeah, I8 Sriya also gave the right answers. Yeah, double quotes, yes or no? So you will see, so you are going to use double quotes to show the boundaries of your string. So those double quotes are nothing but flags here, there in your program. So in our programming language, sorry, in our computer networks, we are going to use a special pattern called flag. So this pattern that normally used in most of the applications are this one. 0 followed by 6 ones followed by 0. Okay. So this is like our double quote in computer network framing. Okay. Now, can anyone raise a problem here? If you are familiar with programming, obviously, when you use double quotes, we have one problem. Can anyone tell me? Guess that problem here. See, my system. Sir, wait. I got a question now. 5G2 is asking me, sir, if flag contains 2 bits and one character contains 2 bits, what will be the flag? I can't get you. See, the flag is always fixed to this 8 bits, irrespective of what is the size of your frame. First thing. Don't think it as a text G2. So this is continuous bits, okay, where the bits are treated byte by byte. Remember. Now your flag is also a byte size. So you can't go with less than a byte, more than a byte. So the flag size is exactly a byte, and the flag pattern, the byte pattern is this one, 0 followed by 6 ones followed by 0. Okay, and if you are familiar with 8 bits are also used for representing a character. So this is also called as character stuffing, a character oriented protocol and character stuffing. So we will see. Okay, so for now, just imagine. Since you are not coming with the problem, let me tell why you choose this double quotes as a boundary. Why you means the designer of any language, any programming language, choose this double quote as your boundary character. Why can't he choose some other character? Why can't he use a in the beginning and ending of, see, instead of double quote, I say I will use a in the beginning and a in the ending. Can I use? Yeah, no. Why? Yeah, okay, no, obviously. Why? Because a is commonly used. Yeah, I not. Okay, very good. So your answer is very nice. So I am, guys, listen. I not answer, Indra answer, because a is commonly used, whereas double quotes are very rarely used in our normal text. Yes or no? A is very commonly used, so you can't use a, but double quotes are very rarely used in our regular communication, so you can use double quotes. Okay, and even the same answer goes for any other thing. You can't use let's say hyphen also, because your text may contain hyphen. You can't use dots, you can't use commas. So what you can see is, when you go through any program, you won't be seeing double quotes as a part of your string regularly. It happens very rarely. Okay. Yes or no? Is it right or wrong? Is it right or wrong? Guys, respond in the chat box. Good. Yes. Now, in the same way, in our computer networks, you choose this pattern because when the protocols are designed, they saw that this pattern very rarely comes in the regular communication. Okay, this pattern very rarely comes in the regular communication. Okay, so because of that, this pattern was chosen. Now my question is, my next question is, so my string is something like that. So this is my string. So this is my actual string. Hi guys, how are you? Where how are you is placed in inside a double quote. Okay. Now, if you give this as a string in your program, what it will say? Yeah, error, because this is syntax error, obviously. Yes or no? So what your compiler will do is, when it starts processing, I think see, CD subject is over for you or not? Compiler design. No, sir. Okay. So I won't go in there. So what your program is going to do is, yeah, it is going to interpret that whenever I see a double quote, I can pair it with the next double quote, and from that double quote to double quote is one string. Okay. From this double quote to this double quote is another string. Now this is without a double quotes. So obviously it is going to see that as a violation of syntax. So it is going to show the syntax error. So in the same way, even though it is a very rarely coming pattern, you can't say it will not come. So in your payload or somewhere, if you get that pattern, what you are going to see? So now your single frame is divided into two frames. Yes or no? If this pattern is there in the payload somewhere, now from this flag, that means this is the flag here. So from this flag to this flag, you will assume this one frame. From this flag to this flag, you will assume as another frame. So that is the problem that is raised here because of your approach. So already one person gave the solution for this. So 5I naught, yeah, in the same way. So what is the approach that you are using in your programming when you have this double quote inside your information? Yeah, good thing. 5J8, sorry, 5I8 Sriya. So everyone is saying backslash. So the actual name for that backslash in our program is escape character. Yes or no? Whenever you see this escape character, so some are giving me these symbols, so even I am confused with these particular symbols regularly. Okay, so /n/t/ double quotes, all these things are used to escape with the next character without considering the syntax. So this is called, this backslash is called escape character, because you will tell to your compiler that whenever you see the backslash, don't consider the next part as a part of the syntax. It has a special meaning for that. Okay, so that's the reason here it is, you are calling them as escape characters. So in the same approach we are going to use in our computer networks. Okay, so as you can see here, say in the middle of your payload, you got a flag. So because of that, now your entire frame appears like A. So from here to here A, followed by flag, here to here B. Okay, so that is what is this representation means. Is it clear with that representation? Okay, so instead of a single frame, you think like them as two frames A and B because of this flag in between. So what you are going to do is, so you are going to stuff them with escape characters, same as your programming language. So whenever you see the flag pattern in your message, you are going to put one escape character before the flag, so that the receiver, when it sees the receiver, what the receiver will do see is, it will see a flag here, it will see a flag here, in between also there is a flag, but when it sees flag, okay, from here the frame start. So it will see, okay, byte by byte, it will process. When it comes here, it will see that there is an escape character. So immediately what it will know is the next one, which is actually a flag, is not a flag. It is a part of the message. So what it will do is, okay, so the received frame is A, flag B. So this is the frame. Okay, so that is how the escape character, which is stuffed. So that is why it is called byte stuffing or character stuffing. The approach is called byte stuffing or character stuffing. Okay, it is same as your backslash before the double quote. Okay, so is it clear with this escape stuffing? Now my question is, now your string is something, so hi, hello, how are you, at the end there is a backslash. Intentionally in your string itself contains the backslash. So this escape character must be also chosen as, which is rarely coming in the in your normal regular text. So this escape character very rarely comes in your regular text. Now your regular text somehow got this escape character as your last character. See, so 5 I not, Indira, you asked me this question. So how many bits it need to skip means it need to escape means obviously 1 byte. Remember, flag is 1 byte size, so you will only have this pattern 1 byte. Okay, if you have multiple flags, you need to put multiple escape characters. So any double quote skip చేస్తామమ్మా ఒక్క escape character use చేసి. How many double quotes you are going to skip by using 1 escape character? 1. In the same way, 1 flag byte is going to escape by using escape character. So now if your string itself contains escape character, like this, మీ స్ట్రింగ్ లో ఎస్కేప్ క్యారెక్టర్ ఉంటే మీ స్ట్రింగ్ లో డబుల్ ఒక బ్యాక్ స్లాష్ ఉంటే మీరు ఏం చేస్తారమ్మా? So 5 I not, again Indira, I think you are good in programming. So you are going to put another backslash in front of it, double backslash to print 1 backslash. That is obviously, so one of a very important question in terms of placements. It used to be an important question in placements. Okay, so programming, if you are very good in syntaxing or not, by asking this particular question, the interviewer is able to see whether you are good or not. Okay, so you are going to put 1 escape character in front of your actual escape character in the frame. Okay, in the same way, when you get multiple escape characters, multiple flag characters, multiple escape flag characters as a part of your frame, you are going to add those many escape characters. Okay, so this is called byte stuffing or character stuffing. Okay, so is it clear with this particular concept? Yeah, 5K6, I will answer your question, just wait. So everyone is clear up to this particular part? What is meant by framing, how you can approach, how you can do framing, and we have discussed 2 approaches. There are 2 more approaches that I will discuss in the next class. Okay, because these approaches will be used in your lab sessions in your coming semester. I think CN is there in your next semester. And yeah, so keep your doubts for now. I am going to first done with whatever I am discussed. So is it clear till this particular part? So if you are clear with this part, okay, so I'm going to stop the session till this part. So if you have no doubts, you can leave. So those who have asked me doubts, just stay. So one person asked me, yeah, a good question, 5K6. So 5K6, who is that? I don't know, I can't see the name. So whoever it is, Soumya, yeah. So the question she is asking is, using one extra byte as a flag, we are wasting some resources. So storage efficiency or bandwidth efficiency, obviously. So using one extra byte, see, so you can't go with fixed length framing. Obviously, when you go with fixed length framing, if you go back on my previous question, for sending 41 KB, you are sending 50 KB. So you are wasting 9 KB. Compared to 9 KB, sending 5 bytes, wasting 5 bytes are better, right? 5K6. Are you getting my answer or not? Previously I said, yeah, good. You think you got my answer. So instead of wasting irrelevantly that many things and doing inefficient communication, wasting a small part, a fraction. See, I am in my examples, I normally going with frame size less, but actually the frame size is something like 1024 bytes, 1024 bits are more minimum. So out of 1024 bytes, wasting 1 byte for flag purpose is not a big issue. Okay, so I think I answered your question. Now coming to another question, J8, Gayatri is asking me, what is the purpose of this header and trailer? So I previously told you, so I think you only asked me the question, so how the frames are ordered properly. I said you are going to use sequence numbers. So these headers, one information that is there inside this header is sequence numbers. Okay. Yeah, K6, I will come back to your question again. Just wait. Okay. So sequence numbers are part of this header. Like this sequence number, see, medium access control is also part of data link layer. So MAC address you are going to use. So that MAC address will be there inside this header also. So like that, many other features will be placed here. So that we will discuss, I think, in this unit itself in the coming topics, I think. Otherwise, I will include them to make you understand them clearly. So Jay, is it clear with the header? Now trailer, coming to this trailer, we will understand this trailer once we done with error control part. The next concept, obviously. After framing, we are going to go through this error control. So there you will understand what is the purpose of this trailer. So J8, clear with this? Okay, good. Now K6. Yeah. So K6 is asking me this doubt. This is a very important doubt. Sir, I thought instead of 1 byte, why can't we go with 1 bit with escape character? See, 1 bit means how many options you have? 0 or 1. సో మీ ఎస్కేప్ క్యారెక్టర్ 0 అనుకోండి, మీ ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ లో సెకండ్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్, మీ ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ లో 0 ఎన్నిసార్లు వచ్చే ఛాన్స్ ఉందమ్మా? 1024 బిట్స్ అన్నాను. సరే 1024 బిట్స్ అనుకోండి ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్. ఒక ఫ్రేమ్ లో 1024 లో ఎన్ని జీరోస్ ఉండే ఛాన్స్ ఉంది? ప్రాబబిలిటీ. So in probability point of view, when you have only 2 options, 50-50, so 0.5 is the probability. Okay, so that means 512 bits will be 0. So 512 escape bits will be there, and you need to put 512 additional bits. Okay, so that is the problem. So you can't, again here you need to choose an optimal number. And another problem here you need to think is, we are talking about byte oriented systems. They can't process bit by bit. Okay, so the minimum size of anything that you do is 1 byte. So is it clear? Yeah, good. See, I am very happy with today's session because I think this is the very interactive session that happened till now. This is my 70th class to you people, and I am very happy that you people started doing these sessions more interactive rather than a one-way communication, one-way teaching. Okay, so that's it for today's session. So I'm going to end the session now. You are going to get the quiz link by today evening by 4. So up to this particular concept. Okay. So if you have no more queries, you can leave the session. If you have more queries, you can ask. Any more queries?